All right, hi everybody. This is Get Real with Chris and Mark. And how you doing, Mark?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, she just clacked us on.
I know. It's like the little clack, like this, and you're on.
Yeah.
So today's topic is
Visioning and goal setting for 2023.
I think that's like a really cool topic. It took me a second, after our planning session, I
Yeah.
really thought about it.
You mean the 3 minutes that we spent
That's right.
coming up with this idea?
Yes, exactly. We got to pull back that curtain every so often.
Right.
No, but it's interesting because this time of year is really, every my real estate coach and we do something every year, and she does it with a group of us every year, and it's, I'll share it with you. I mean, we do a whole thing where we let go of the previous year, and what are you going into the new year, and you pick a word that is your word for
Awesome.
the year.
What's your word?
I haven't gotten it yet. I mean,
Okay.
so, but it comes to you. It's kind of like a thing. It's kind of very interesting. Been doing it for many years.
So I
now.
didn't have a word until 30 seconds ago.
Really.
Yeah.
And what's your word?
Double.
Double. Oh.
Yeah.
See, it's interesting because I mean, like sometimes it's about self awareness and things that you want to make yourself.
But double to me is like, so I want to double the business. I want to double my effort while I'm at work. I want to double my influence while I'm with my friends. I want to double the time that I spent with my kids.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel like you can take something like that and spread it across everything. But that's kind of where my head's at. Like I just want to go into the year with twice the amount of effort.
Yeah.
And ultimately get twice the results. So.
What's funny is this year, like I was mentioning to you, like I went in and I completely basically took everything out of my office, and actually it was a good move. It's kind of like when I used to work on, there was construction sites when we would take over a new site, you'd bring in a trash can in the middle of the office and start literally just throw everything away.
Cleaning
and
house.
just clean house. And but honestly, today I had this huge 5-drawer file cabinet, and I started opening it up, and I'm realizing everything's remote, and we don't have any files.
Right.
Like we used to have red buyer files, blue seller files,
yeah.
and I'm like this file cabinet, this huge.
Time for the file cabinet to go.
It went out today.
That's right.
So
you clear the space.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to clear the space. I think it's important, like you said, to shed, whatever things were, I guess, negative last year. So I'll tell you kind of how we do our goal setting.
I want to hear. Yeah.
I've been doing the same process for the last 10 years, and it was shared with me by my coaching program as well, similar to yours. So we do what's called the 7 boxes of life.
Okay.
And so essentially, on one side, you start with where are you at now. So it's what are your struggles, or what are you struggling with now in all the 7 boxes. So you go through, it's like work, money, family, spirituality, self, friends, and I feel like I missed one. Oh, love life.
So it's funny because those are like our energies in my current coaching program.
So it's all similar at the end of the day.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
So we take that and we write where our struggles are, and then we kind of rate each box 1 to 10.
Yeah.
We take the 1 to 10 and
so similar.
We
you have
chart
no idea,
it out
right?
on this little wheel, and then we kind of connect the wheel, and it shows you if your wheel is too small, or sometimes it looks like a bean or like a flat tire.
Yeah.
And it's just a visual to show kind of where your life's at.
Yeah. And
then we roll it over to where you will be. So we take now each box and we set 2 goals for each box of where you will be. So it looks like, how much money you're going to make, how much business you're going to do, money you're going to save. For mine, like love life is to really commit to date nights.
Right.
That's kind of the thing that ebbs and flows, especially with having kids. They're not always there, but committing to a weekly date night. And then, like spirituality is like going to church and reading and stuff like that. So just setting goals around them. And what I've found is I take those goals and I actually put mine on a big whiteboard.
Oh, so you do your vision board, right?
Well, I have a vision board.
So this is your goal board.
This is my goal board, yeah.
Okay.
So I have a vision board at the office that I do with the team that is images and pictures that we cut out in magazines, which is fun.
And stuff, yeah.
And it also aligns with everything.
Yeah.
But then I have this whiteboard with my 7 boxes on it. And then I put it behind my faucet in my bathroom.
Okay.
So literally every day when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm looking at what my goals are, and I'm slowly kind of checking off where I'm at. And so I like this topic because I think that a lot of people just float through life, and they don't spend time on goal setting or coming up with a
Yeah.
path.
No.
You know, there's
I'm
a lot of I wish I coulda, woulda, shoulda, you know, all that kind of stuff that happens with folks. And the way that you overcome that is by setting goals and envisioning where you want to be. You know, everything on this planet was created in two places. Once up here,
right,
and then in reality.
Right.
So the reality is you have to think it
right
before it's going to happen. So
right.
You have
Visionary
to
and right.
Think it and
Visionary
believe it.
reality and physical reality.
Yeah, you gotta think it and believe it. So the other thing that we do, 7 Boxes of Life we do every year. I also do a 1-year business plan, but then every couple of years I do a 5-year vision.
Okay.
So I actually write out where I'll be in 5 years in grave detail, and then I take the bullet pointed version and I write it into a letter to myself.
Yeah.
So I'm writing from 5 years from now, telling myself how great it's been accomplishing all these things.
Yeah, very cool.
So I look back to my letter 5 years ago, and it literally stated the ages of my children.
Nice.
One of which was right on the money. That's my 2-year-old.
Okay.
And the other one of my daughter that's about to be born right now. Gender and time frame.
Okay.
Specific to when I wrote it.
That's pretty good.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, that's really good. Well, you know, on that note, it's actually interesting because I this is used to shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of things, right? I used to write daily affirmations, important. And when I first started in this business, there were things were a challenge for me, and I was working, had my work in the building industry and trying to get out of what I was dealing with and that kind of thing. And so one of my things that I put on my affirmations, and I still have it in my office because I wrote them every day. I wrote 10 times every day, and 3 affirmations. So I wrote 30 times every day. And one of them was, I drive a professional black sedan, right? Because I wanted a new car, couldn't afford a new car. That was my affirmation, right? Do you know, in December, or it might have been November of that year, I won a new car.
Get out of town.
Yeah. So I truly believe affirmations are the way to go.
Well,
you know what I mean? And that vision.
You have to speak it into existence.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't exist. So you have to repetitively speak it into existence.
It's so hard for me to, believe in that. I don't want to get so not that guy.
I don't want to
you know what I mean? That energy.
I don't want to get too religious, but I'm going to anyway.
That's okay.
So in the Bible, it says that God spoke the world into existence.
Okay.
And then in second to that, it states that he made man in his image.
Yeah.
So just think about that.
No, I get it. I got you.
That literally we have the power to speak things or believe things into existence, manifest things in our life.
So that's why I love talking about these goals and things. It's funny because people think of goals as a barometer or a thermometer, right? Like they think of like the firehouse that does their fundraising, right?
Yeah.
And but that doesn't. And you ever notice that most of the time when you visualize those things, you still do get them, right? But I think the concept is for you internally to say, this is what I want of my life to be, or what I want out of my life this year, right?
Yes.
And if it's a new car, or if it's a new book, or if it's, I'm trying to scale it, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You might be a new Ferrari from Mark Frisco. I don't know, but
negative. I won't say I'll never own a Ferrari, but I'll have to have a ridiculous amount of money to own a Ferrari, because that's just such a ridiculous purchase. And even then, I don't know that I would own one. There's a lot. I could own 10 other cars that I love for that dollar amount.
I think I'd take a Ferrari. Just I mean, if I could, I don't know, but it'd have to. But again, it'd be one of those things, But
you'd have to have.
But having that vision of what you want to do, and I think honestly, personally, the key has been and will always be putting it down on paper.
Yeah, you got to write it down.
And
then you can't just shove it in a drawer. You got to look at it. And the most important thing is you have to vision with it. So
that's why that affirmation thing. You put yours behind your bathroom sink. Yeah. That's your affirmation.
So what it does for me is every morning when I look at it, I start to think about what is it going to take. That's the real question here. For any of your goals or dreams, the question is, what is it going to take? And oftentimes you know what it's going to take, and you're not willing to take the steps.
That's a whole nother topic. But I do believe, it's funny that you say that, because I truly believe if you say you want something, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, you can if you apply yourself to do that,
you can get it.
you can get it.
It's proven.
It's almost whatever
all you
it
have
is.
to do is look around. Look
Yeah.
at anybody else around you. At some point in time, they were in your position or a similar position to you, and they were able to get where you are. Now, you may look at this person over here, and you may say, oh, well, they inherited money or whatever. But there's a guy that has just as much money as him or has created just as much success as him that has come from a worse place than you or I or the person that may be listening to this.
Right.
So, look, there's plenty of excuses. But the reality is like you said, if you want it and you're willing to do what it takes to accomplish your goal, you can do it. You just have to truly make a decision, commit to it, and then I believe that you need to speak it into existence, meaning that you need to vision it all the time. So it's one thing to write down like, hey, I want to have a black sedan.
Right.
But it's another thing for you to think about that black sedan over and over
every day.
again.
Right.
And if you think about that black sedan over and over again, I guarantee it's going to be in your driveway.
It's interesting because, like you said, that's the visionary part of it. Because I didn't do anything to win it, right? No. I mean, like I didn't.
But you thought about it enough that it just came to you.
That it just came to me that day, and I think about that a lot because I mean, if you just sit down and write down like what it is you want, it's almost always.
So you got to spend some time with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say again, you're right. You got to spend the time with it. You got to get out there and do it. But, so I guess the bottom line is write it down, spend some time on it, and focus on your goal every day. Like somehow or another, focus
Look at
on
it every day, spend some time on it, reflect, truly vision, not just what you want, but what it feels like having it too.
It's interesting because we always talk about like in our business, one of the big things is what's your why, right? Like what's your why, and that all.
Do you know yours?
They change, right? Like every year they change, right? You know what I mean? And so I'm working on this year's why, so it'll be different this year, but I'll let you know.
So you don't know?
Not this year, no. I think I'm a little different this year than I have been.
Okay. So I'll tell you, my why did fluctuate for time, over a period of time. And I think I've gotten really good clarity. I mean, I think at some point, your why is just survival. And then it's supporting your family,
right, and then it's thriving in some way, shape, or form, right?
Thriving, but for some internal reason. And I think the shift that's happened in me over the last couple of years is that my why has become having a lasting impact on other people.
No, so that's really right. I get that.
It's part of the reason why I like sitting here and doing this with you.
I totally get it.
So what happens is my why starts to drive everything that I do. Where I spend my time. There are times that I find myself in a listing appointment and I know that I'm not going to sell the house for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I know that the person on the other side of the table needs me. And it could just be to sit there and talk with them just because I can tell that they need a friend.
No, that's a thing.
And my goal, I think about when I'm in those meetings, like, am I living up to what my why is? I'll sit here for 2.5 hours and have a conversation with you if it's going to be of no monetary benefit to me, if it meets my why, which is having a lasting impact.
And
I want that person to remember that conversation for.
No, that's absolutely the key, and I think you're right. Honestly, that's a good way to put it. I actually like that a lot. I might actually steal some of that.
That's fine.
That's a good one because the lasting impact. It's all of these goals and aspirations. It's all about legacy.
Yeah.
Right. Let's be real. Right. It's about what you leave behind you.
But defining that. So I feel like a lot of people feel like legacy is money, and that is.
No, I don't think so.
That is
I don't even think it is actually.
To some extent, it is. It's part of the puzzle. Like you can leave a legacy to your children by leaving them with cash, which I'm still back and forth on.
They need to work for it. They need to earn it.
I'm gonna figure out the recipe at some point, but for now, from where I stand today, kids, all our money will be donated. So if you listen to this episode 20 years from now,
if it's available.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be donated.
On Spotify and the Baynet podcast.
Right. That's right. But no, I think that true legacy is how long does your name come out of somebody else's mouth after you're gone?
Hopefully in a positive way.
In a positive way. That's right. They're getting ready to shoot a John Wilkes Booth documentary.
Right.
You could go that route, which is not a good one. I'm not advising that.
We don't want that.
But I'm saying, if you can have lasting impact, it means that not only can you try to impact the person sitting in front of you, but impact that person to the point that they tell your story and somebody else tells your story. I mean, that's just an amazing thing.
I don't think people really don't do this enough, right? Like I appreciate us talking about it right now, right? Because I don't think people in general plan their year and set their goals and do. I don't think many
They
people
don't.
do that. You know,
And here's the weird
they
thing.
get wrapped up in day to day.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we all do. But that again goes back to, are you letting life control you, or are you controlling your life?
Yeah, right.
You know, and it's funny because the people who are the busiest and the most successful, who truly have the excuse that there's so many more important things that they could be doing, goal set and vision the most.
Yeah. No, they do. I mean, it's the big rock, little rock
because
thing, right?
they realize that the value is there. So it's like, you know, I got to go to the grocery store, I got to go do this, or I got to go do this.
Right.
And it just keeps getting pushed down. And this goal setting, visioning, you know, planning my future, accomplishing my dreams is down here. But the people who are really successful realize that that's the number one priority.
Well, it is. And that is what I was saying earlier. It's like it's the big rock and the pebble, you know, that you put. Have you seen that where you put it in the jar, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Those big rocks are important. They
Right.
should be the foundation of everything you do.
Yeah.
You know, and so.
So, in a nutshell, last year I offered, you know, for my sphere of influence to do a goal setting thing with me. I had one person tune in.
Okay.
Which actually blew my mind. I did it on Zoom, made it easy, offered up my docs. So I'll say this now. If you want my Wheel of Life example,
okay. You'll share it?
I'll share it. So email partnerships@thebaynut.com if you want my documents.
I'll send the email today. I'll get your documents so I can. You know.
I got you, bro.
Man, I got some other stuff we can share too. I got some really good stuff too, so I'll throw it into your stuff, and if they want it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and when
there's a lot of different exercises, and like I did this for a networking group recently where I went through my stuff, and somebody came up and they're like, "Oh, well, my stuff does it this way." It's like, look, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. Like I said,
the key is you just got to do it.
Well, right, and
you can
it makes
modify
it how
it,
similar they are.
They
Believe it or not, they all have similarities, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's all about what you want to get out of it, you know.
And the cool thing about this is that it's infectious. So I will challenge you to truly take the steps of starting to set some goals, follow your goals, vision on your goals, and start to accomplish your goals. And all of a sudden, somebody will walk up to you and say, "Hey, what are you doing that's different?"
Yeah.
I noticed something's different about you. I noticed that you're accomplishing this and this. And then all of a sudden you'll help them do the same thing.
And then they're right.
Yeah, and it becomes infectious. So it kind of happened, you know, with me and my wife.
Yeah.
So my wife actually started taking on and doing her own personal goals and visioning, and now she's accomplishing those, and it's just it's a beautiful thing.
So it's that snowball
my kids
effect.
quite aren't there yet.
Yeah,
you know,
they're little.
6 and 2.
Yeah.
The 6-year-old.
Maybe getting it.
Maybe. We might be able to start with that.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
All right, so where are we at? We good?
Look, we went 18 minutes about goal
setting
and visioning.
And visioning, yes. Which still, it's a good topic. It's something that
I think it's a fantastic topic. I'm big into this stuff, and you'll notice. So going back to my why, it's a common trend of things that I bring up here. You know, I talked about my qualms with secondary education. I'm trying to use part of what we're doing here to have an impact on people.
Yeah.
And to encourage them to get out of a place in their life and take a step towards going someplace that they
want
to be. Or
that's
they
what
want
I said.
To
you know, you want to. It's just if you want that. Is there something that you want in your life, like whatever it is that you really truly want, you just have to take that first step to get to it.
Yeah.
And then you have to set your goals and you have to do it, and you can do it.
You can do it. And the key is don't give up along the way, because I can't.
Well, right. There's
look,
lots of times to give up.
There is a handful, especially for me. My money goals and my work goals, most of them I did not accomplish this year. And to some people, that would be devastating, right?
Yeah.
But here's the beautiful thing about failure is that when you fail, it is the requirement for success.
Right.
Because I can guarantee you this, I will be way more successful this year because of the fact that I failed to obtain
Me too.
my
I told
goals
you.
last year.
I told you it all boils down to. I said I need to get rid of all the old stuff and kind of start out new with this stuff today and see what we got going on.
I would not have spent the time reflecting and adjusting and figuring out my game plan that I did if I had accomplished the goals that I did last year. And I tell you what, my goals for this year are twice as aggressive as they were last year. Right. Because of that.
Well, and that's right. And so I guess fundamentally that's
where double comes
right.
from.
I get it. But fundamentally, it is like so that's the definition of why you don't give up on your goals, right? Like you're not set goals that are ostentatious. They're big goals.
There's only one. There's more than one requirement, but there's one very important requirement for success, and that is to fail more often.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I should be a huge success right now.
You aren't?
Because of
your amount of failures?
It was the failures. No,
Yeah.
I mean, you're
dwell
absolutely
on
right.
them.
You can't dwell on them. You have to. That's why I said clean slate and start over. It's the trash can in the middle of the office. You throw everything out, or what you need to throw out, and you start over and say,
Get
I'm
back
going
after
at
it.
Right, and that's what we're doing.
It's funny
so.
because I feel like in our industry we don't get enough credit, and I say that because we're just realtors, right? I think that's oftentimes how we're looked at. Like, we're just realtors, but
Right.
we're both business owners at the end of the day, and business owners that in comparison to our competitors, I mean, as far as you and I are concerned,
no, for sure.
What are we, like, top 1%?
Somewhere up there, yeah.
So we just don't get enough credit, and I feel like folks look at us having this conversation. What do they know? They're just realtors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're no different than the other businesses that are fighting for one another to get their market share, right?
I just realized where I was going with this. So, at the end of the day, though, we're pretty insane
Yeah.
because when you look at our jobs, we start back at zero like every month.
Yeah.
And we got to figure out what's next and what's next
every
and
time,
what's next.
right.
Like right now, I've got paychecks charted out from maybe the next 60 days. And then behind that, I have no idea.
No, I know.
What the world's going to bring. So to think about that level of, fear. Some people are scared to quit their job to do the next thing. And it's like, I quit my job. I give my 60 days notice every day.
Every day. It's funny, not as a side note, but it's funny, I worked for this company years ago, and I remember when they went to their pay went to every 30 days. Mm-hmm. And I was an hourly employee, but it went to every 30 days. And my head exploded back then, right? Like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this?
How are you going to make it?
But it's the same thing. It's like goal setting, right? It's planning out your month and planning what you got coming up.
And if you're paycheck to paycheck right now, we need to have a different conversation. Maybe that can be a topic for another day. We can talk about
I think that's a good topic.
Budgeting and saving and
we can bring somebody in, maybe talk about that. Somebody who can help
wealth.
people with that and bring an opportunity, do a seminar or something about it. I mean, there's opportunities. So.
I like that. But
yep. All right.
Sweet. Well, hopefully.
Where do we find us, Mark?
Oh, you got
I got it. I'm trying to push it. I shoved it down there.
You can find us on Facebook, which is where most of you check us out. You can find us on thebaynet.com/podcast, or I believe we have a podcast button somewhere on there.
I think we do now. I think I saw it. Yeah, it's right up there.
Getting nods, yes. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Amazon Music, Spotify. And I just found out the last episode that you can Google "Get Real with Chris and Mark" and you'll find us there.
Which, by the way, that's really awesome.
Yeah. Google has recognized
Then again,
us.
there's nobody that's, who else is "Get Real with Chris and Mark"? It's kind of a little stretch, but okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take the feel good.
Take whatever it is. So.
All right, we'll see y'all next week.
See you then.